following health measures and getting jabbed against COVID-19. These are ways to keep infections low because the DOH said if these are followed, infections could go as low as 429 daily by the end of December. Now, the agency said that these are not yet cast in stone. These may still change depending on the public's behavior as the threat of COVID still remains. Sean.
All right. Of course, we have heard that there is a slow uptake in COVID-19 booster shots among our fellow Filipinos. Does the DOH know why this is the case?
Sean, the DOH said that many people lost interest to receive COVID-19 shots by the first quarter of 2022. Many were already satisfied with their primary series, but the DOH stressed that it's important for the public to receive booster shots as the immunity of vaxxed individuals remains or wanes over time. Sean.
And the ongoing Bakunahang Bayan focuses on vaccinating children. JC, what are the challenges that we're experiencing currently in pediatric vaccinations?
Sean, the DOH has yet to achieve 50% coverage of vaccination among those 5 to 11 years old. According to the agency, vaccine hesitancy remains to be an issue for parents. That's why they are not yet able to achieve their targets for the said age group. Either they were victims of misinformation and disinformation, and the DOH has been stressing that these vaccines are effective to prevent severe COVID-19. And these were, regulated by experts before it was rolled out. Sean.
Right, and JC, as we go back to our pre-pandemic habits and movements, a lot of people have reported experiencing flu-like symptoms these days. Of course, we might have overlooked some of the usual seasonal diseases. What does the DOH have to say about this?
Sean, the DOH continues to monitor several seasonal diseases, especially with the changing weather this holiday season. It includes the flu and pneumonia, which the agency said that could be fatal to elderly individuals. Now, the DOH also are on the lookout, on wild diseases, among others, as occasional rains still occur, and the consumption of unhealthy foods and drinks this holiday season. And they're also on the lookout on the possible increase of related injuries, especially with the coming New Year celebrations. Sean.
All right, so it's not just seasonal diseases, JC, it's also the hand, foot, and mouth disease that is seeming to be spreading in the NCR as well as other regions. What is the DOH seeing in terms of the trend with HFMD?
Sean, the agency said there is no outbreak yet of HFMD in the Philippines or in the regions in the country. The DOH said it remains to be preventable and manageable. But here in Metro Manila, there are 155 cases of HFMD recorded since October to December 6, 2022. And a majority of the infections were children aged 11 and below. Sean.
All right, going back to COVID-19, JC, has there been any update or changes in the alert level system that we are currently using?
Sean, the DOH is set to present the changes in the current alert level system by tomorrow, December 7, to the Interagency Task Force. Recall that the current ALS will only serve as or will only be used to determine areas risk level wherein restrictions under the current ALS will be decoupled to the said system. Sean.
Right, thank you so much for those updates. JC Cosico reporting to us live from the city of Manila. And the World Bank has upgraded its economic growth forecast for the Philippines this year. The lender now expects the domestic economy to expand 7.2% year-on-year in 2022. That is higher than its previous growth projection of 6.5%. However, the multilateral lender expects some economic slowdown next year. It projects the Philippine economy to grow 5.7% annually from 2023 to 2025, which is lower than the revised 6 to 7% goal set by our economic managers. And the proposed national budget for 2023 is now up for President Bongbong Marcos' signature. Camille Samonte with the report.
In keeping with Congress' target of passing the national budget before Christmas, both chambers have ratified the report of Bicameral Conference Committee on 5.268 trillion peso budget for next year. The reconciled version of the spending plan will be brought to Malacanang for the President's signature for it to officially become a law. Among the notable amendments in the reconciled version is the restoration of the 150 million peso confidential and intelligence funds or CIF of the Education Department.
That's a decision of the House, the leadership na ituloy, no? Kasi mahirap yung mga kabataan natin na re-recruit sa maling papuntang landas. So we want the DepEd to spearhead kasi ang ating mga kabataan, di ba, na pupunta rin sa maling landas.
The 10 billion peso budget for National Task Force and Local Communist Armed Conflict or NTF-LCAC was also restored. This despite lawmakers' concerns over red tagging issues surrounding the task force as well as its low budget utilization rate.
We asked the agency to be more efficient and prudent kasi as of now, it's only 2% were utilized for year 2022. December na ho ngayon. So we urge and we utilize it. Sayang ng 98% kung sa tingin natin na nakakatulong yun ng maigi.
The Bicameral Conference Committee also removed the provision requiring agencies with confidential intelligence funds to submit quarterly accomplishment reports to Congress. The Senate Minority Bloc expressed disappointment in the removal of what was supposed to be a safeguard for CIF spending.
Parang pinilayan natin mismo yung ating sariling committee, maging ang jurisdiction niya, doon na lang po sa confidential funds.
Tila naging mapurol at pudpod ang proteksyong binigay sa pondo ng bayan by granting in full all the requests for confidential and intelligence funds under the Marcos Duterte administration.
Only Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel and Senator Risa Hontiveros voted against the ratification of the BICAM report on 2023 budget in the Senate. However, Senate Finance Committee Chairman Sonny Angara pointed out that the Oversight Committee can still require reports on agencies' CIF spending.
I don't think there's anything which prevents the Oversight Committee, Your Honor, from requiring the submission of reports with respect to both confidential and intelligence funds, because there's no prohibition in any law and it's inherent in our oversight.
Senate President Mig Zubiri meanwhile said Congress will keep a close eye on the spending of confidential and intelligence funds.
We will look out how they will spend these funds. I assure our Minority Leader and Deputy Minority Leader, of which the Minority Leader is part of, that we will scrutinize and make sure that the funds are well spent. And so that the next years, as our Minority Leader, Senator Pimentel had said, this year we watch, we wait, we get them accountable.
Aside from the confidential funds of DepEd and budget of NTF-LCAC, additional funds were also given to state colleges and universities, Department of Public Works and Highways, Department of Justice, Department of Interior and Local Government, and Judiciary. The BICAM also created a fund for the restoration of classrooms destroyed by recent typhoons and quick response fund of the government. For News 5, Camille Samonte, we are One News.
We're pausing for a quick break, but we will be back with more stories after that. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. The Supreme Court is currently tackling petitions against the no-contact apprehension program that had been implemented in some cities in Metro Manila. We have Marlene Alcaide over the phone to give us an update. Marlene, what do you have for us today?
So, the Supreme Court has started hearing 3 petitions questioning the legality of the NCAP. The petitioners are asking the High Court to declare the scheme unconstitutional, saying that the livelihood of transport youth are at stake. The first petition was by Transport Youth Happy, Hassan Mazda, Al-Sadaf, and ACTO. The second petition was filed by a lawyer who was fined 20,000 pesos with the Manila Traffic Enforcement Bureau. And the third was by the Philippine National Taxi Operator. Recall that the FT had ordered the temporary suspension of the NCAP pending action on the petition. In one of the petitions, it was argued that the implementation of the NCAP violates data privacy. The petitioner also questioned the higher penalty imposed by the NCAP as opposed to in-person apprehension. Meanwhile, the second petitioner lawyer, Human Paa, called the ordinance unfair and oppressive. Paa was fined 20,000 pesos for his alleged traffic violations in Manila, which came with additional penalties, surcharges, and interest because he was not able to pay on time. Paa argued that he wasn't informed of such violations and that his privacy was violated. Sean, as of now, the oral arguments are still underway. Petitioners were given 20 minutes for their opening statements. The cities of Manila, Valenzuela, Parañaque, Quezon City, and Muntinlupa, as well as the LTO, were named as respondents. Solicitor General Menardo Guevara also attended the hearing to represent the government. Guevara is now speaking before the magistrates, saying NCAP is an innovative solution to manage the traffic situation. He also asked the LT to lift the temporary restraining order on the implementation of NCAP. Sean?
Thank you so much for that update. That was Marlene Alcaide reporting to us over the line. Thanks, Marlene. Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. Bureau of Corrections Acting Chief Gregorio Catapang plans to file plunder cases against some Bucor officials over the questionable release of funds. Catapang says that 95% of the budget for modernization of jails were already released, but only around 60% of the projects have been completed. The Philippines has suspended the deployment of overseas Filipino workers to India after the country was found to be non-compliant with the requirements set under the Migrant Workers and Overseas Filipinos Act. The Philippine Overseas Employment Administration, or POEA, said OFWs are only allowed to be deployed to countries where migrant worker rights are protected. K-pop girl group Blackpink has been named as Time Magazine's Entertainer of the Year. They are the second K-pop group to be selected as Entertainer of the Year after BTS. And for more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News Live anytime, anywhere. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.